and watch the step cook.
You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. Hit my line if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. Yeah, I'm from the 17th curb.
Yes, sir. A lot of people weren't privy to some of these images that happened in camp. Made us kind of wonder, where were these photos? Where were these images? But look at Jalen, man. Arm tight to the body. That's one of the biggest changes, in my opinion, that was made in his throwing motion this offseason. And I think it has a lot to do with the increased accuracy that you see from Jalen Hurts. These joint practices, man, the guys look good, man. Everybody looks in great physical shape. You see Smitty there. You see Watkins getting over to the huddle. Interesting to note that Kenneth Gainwell is out there with the ones. We didn't hear much reports about that, but obviously video evidence sees that. Look at A.J. Brown is just a massive wide receiver. Yeah, man. I mean, Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, looks much more like a more polished quarterback. Now, is he at the top of his polishing? Absolutely not. But he's worked on some small things that help take his game to the next level. I think flushing out to the right is one of his strongest suits, and throwing on the run on that side of the field. A.J. Brown with a near touchdown reception right there. But I think teams will start the game plan and bring that corner blitz to that right side and make us change a couple things up in the offseason. He's very strong going that way. So, if we can notice it here, then it's not a wild goose chase or witch hunt that other teams will be able to notice this as well. I mean, just the physical changes that I see in him and Devontae Smith, you kind of got to marvel at it, man. These guys have done their due diligence to come to camp in shape. That's a good thing. Rager also was one of those guys that came into camp much, much more in shape. And you can see, man, you can see the confidence, you can see the swagger, you can see the patience of a starting quarterback in the National Football League, just in body language alone. Again, that arm is very, very tight to the body, throwing on the run. This time coming to the left side, delivering a strike. Dallas Goedert, in the end zone. I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at progression. A lot of people seem to have this thing where, if you're progressing, you know what I mean, we don't want to talk about it because it's in practice. But, I kind of think you practice the way that, you put on for the game. If you can get those small things down in practice, they're for sure to translate over to the game and on film in the game as well. My lot of towering everybody in the huddle. You got to understand, man, this offensive line is massive. These are some big guys that we have up front, and much to the rankings and much to the respect that we get. And Greedy Williams was very, very high on Greedy Williams. But, we heard A.J. Brown had his way with him, but Greedy is still a young guy, still learning out there. But this offensive line, and this defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles will ultimately be the deciding factor in how far we go in the long run. So it's just great to see it. Now let's look at the defense going against Jacoby Brissett and the ones of the Cleveland Browns. Brissett is not a bad quarterback to me, man. He's not that far off fundamentally, but you see, Marcus Epps is right there. Now our defense was flying around. I heard Kaiser White got another pick. We talked about that yesterday, but I don't have footage of that. But it's good to see some footage. You know what I mean? Just some footage of joint practice, man. I feel like we were deprived of it. I have no idea why. You know what I mean? They didn't really put out a lot of footage. They put out images and bits and pieces here and there. But you kind of gotta feed the streets, man. So this is my due diligence and letting y'all see just a little bit of something that the Eagles had going on for the day 2 of the joint practice. This defensive line caused a lot of problems, especially on this possession as well. That was a good pitch and catch to Amari Cooper. I think that was Zach McPherson on the coverage, but Amari Cooper was out of bounds. The defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles had Jacoby Brissett throwing earlier than he wanted to, and it caused a lot of penalties for these guys and a lot of these situations going against our ones. That's just a major and massive commitment to, us putting emphasis during this offseason on getting to the opposing quarterbacks. I feel like we got the remedy for it. I feel like we got the personnel for it now. I feel like we can make a lot of guys uncomfortable and have them going to their, sideline with their head down and shaking their head. You see Kaiser White right here. Communication is key. Communication has been up. Throwing the ball quick, and we're right there. It's no really yards after the catch that I'm seeing. I don't get that from this defense. I see smart, intelligent football players who know how to read quarterbacks, who know how to manipulate their position on the field And and in the blink of an eye, they can be stepping in front of a pass. Like Kaiser White showed that in his preseason game with his interception. You listen, I know it's preseason, I know it's practice, but football is less than 30 days away, ladies and gentlemen. And you kind of got to understand that this is the closest thing that our ones are going to get to regular game action. They're not going to play much in the preseason. You know what I mean? This is the most competitive they're going to be able to be, especially going against opposing teams in joint practice. Now, we still got the Dolphins coming up. But, fun times when you can go out there and sharpen yourselves against, formidable opponents. Again, Jacoby Brissett. He had a little time on this one, but, with time brings pass breakups. Darius Slay's right there to break that ball up. Marcus Epps is there trying to pick up the crumbs if he can. And this defense is flying around. This defense is learning certain nuances of the game from guys we already have on the field. Cooper, we know Cooper very well. You know what I mean? Cooper is a very, very sound route running technician. And Cooper, is a bona fide number one in this league. We're not going to get that mistaken. But I feel like our defense is just much more better than a lot of the quarterbacks that we'll be facing this offseason. So a lot of people like to look at how well the offense is performing and the progression of Jalen Hurts. But, I encourage some of those people to, look at the defensive side of the ball and see what they could bring to the table. A lot of false starts, were called in this series against the Cleveland Browns because, the fear that our defensive pass rush can put into opposing offensive lines. You know what I mean? This defense can create turnovers. You see Kaiser White is getting an interception almost every day. What does that do? It puts Jalen Hurts and his offense in better field positions. I think the last end that we have to tie is finding out who's going to be our designated punt returner. We need to lock that guy down and get him those reps. Instead of, mixing and matching reps between everybody, we need that guy to be as comfortable as possible, whoever he's going to be, because it's a very, very valuable position on this football team. It helps us with field position. And if you can get a guy that's not afraid to run up the field, like his life depends on it, you can flip field position with a good punt return. So it's all about how the Philadelphia Eagles want to attack that situation. I'm all for it. But have I been pleased during this offseason? Absolutely. I've been pleased with the way the GM built the team. I've been pleased with, some of the reports and some of the things I've seen from the team and how the chemistry is rising. I've been pleased with my quarterback. I've been pleased with my wide receivers, my defense, my defensive line. I've been pleased with my safeties as well. You really can't knock anything that the front office did this offseason, but it is ultimately up to the players to go out there and put their best foot forward. So let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I hope y'all enjoyed some of the footage I was able to scramble up and feed the streets with, man. Let you see, just let you see how the team is looking and how the team rocking.